Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in today's video, we're talking about design details, some big, some small, that you will never regret putting into your home. And as an interior designer, I can tell you, my clients live for them. Now, the first thing you can add to your home that you won't regret, because I wouldn't ever regret, I literally don't, is adding oversized trim or extra trim into your home. I'm talking about get bigger baseboards, add crown molding, add a picture rail, add applied moldings. So many of my clients as of late are loving applied moldings in their home because it looks beautiful, it's luxurious, it's a layered detail. It's like you don't have to spend a ton of money on big artwork because you have all this trim on your wall. And you can also use these in spaces that are really hard to hang pieces of artwork, like a double height foyer. Put applied molding on the walls. Like, it literally is so easy. It's great. Angled walls, right up a staircase, a big wall above a staircase, because you can hang artwork, but how do you hang it? It has to stack, it has to move up slowly. That's really hard to do and find the correct positioning on. So using applied moldings there is great. You can also go oversized on the molding on your trim and your doors. That's something really beautiful. There was also a big trend like early 2000s where it was very much like, if I tell you like loft style, like Chicago loft style, you know exactly what I mean here, where it's like we had beautiful wood cabinetry and doors and everything in homes, but they were flat. They had no details on them. We've kind of moved away from that, and people like a clash or a juxtaposition of contemporary spaces with traditional design details. So something I recommend when people have like flat doors in their homes is to just add trim onto the door. It looks expensive. Nobody is sitting there being like, oh, you added some trim on that door. People are like, oh, that's kind of nice, and I didn't have to buy new doors. Which, let me tell you, replacing all of the doors in your house, I've done it. It's not inexpensive. It is very, very expensive, especially right now it is very expensive. But all of these things are great to consider in a home because they add in a lot of details without you having to buy a lot of physical items or pieces of furniture or artwork. Adding oversized trim, you'll never regret it. It always makes a home look more expensive to have a great trim package in there, and you can add that in over time. Another design detail that you will never regret bringing into your home, and I can tell you, you cannot go back from it, never, okay, is pinch pleats. Once you go pinch pleat, you never go back. It's the truth. I can't envision my life before I had pinch pleat drapes. And I always say this to my clients, do the pinch pleats. It's so nice. It looks so expensive without it actually being that. And something that's really great is that you cannot just like quickly throw together and machine stitch, or, you know, like all of these things, pinch pleats. Somebody has to put that hand work into it. And I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate those little bits of details. Yes, you pay a little bit more for them, but in my opinion, you get a lot out of it. Great window treatments always make a home look expensive, and pinch pleats are the easiest way to do that. You get extra folds that create more vertical lines and elongate the walls and the ceiling height in your space. And I just love that. I think it's so fantastic. Pinch pleats also, you get a lot more volume of fabric in the same amount of space, and that's really good to have as well. Something else you will never regret bringing into your home is some great interior design advice. And when you get stuck and you need some help, you can always come to me. You could book a one-on-one interior design consultation with me where I can answer any and all of your design and decorating needs. You can go to the description box down below and book that, or you can go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. Now, another design detail you will never regret bringing into your home is a painted ceiling. Once you have great ceiling details, you will never enter or go into a space that doesn't have them and not see the fact that something is missing. I love a painted ceiling. I adore a painted ceiling. And the way I really got into the whole painted ceiling thing, or like a ceiling detail, is we bought a house that just had painted ceilings. Like we moved into it and they were already painted. And we were like, this is weird, like this is different. And then when it came time for us to repaint the house, because obviously I didn't choose the colors in it, so they had to be changed, I was like, do we go white on the ceiling or do we paint it to match the walls? Like there's no question. Like, you cannot go back from having a painted ceiling into just having like a flat white ceiling. It's impossible. I love a painted ceiling. I love a painted ceiling because your ceiling is such an underutilized part of your home that painting it a color, whether it's the same color as your walls or an accent color or something a little different, makes the world of difference. In my home, we do have all white ceilings, but that's because we added a lot of ceiling details. We did paneling, we did molding, I did faux coffered, I did shiplap ceilings because it fits the style of my home really beautifully. Those details are enough that I can leave them white, but you can also paint a ceiling. I love it. I love it so much because a painted ceiling is just such a great detail to bring into a space. It really is a designer detail because everybody out there, everybody in the world, everybody, you know, across the nation, the land, the universe, whatever, they're not painting their ceilings because it's just not something they're thinking about. It's adventurous. It's different. You really have to be brave in order to do that because it is something different. It's unexpected, especially if you use darker colors in your home. Painting your ceiling dark, like, whoa, you know, that's something big. To paint a ceiling dark, you can easily do that. You can color drench, you could just paint an accent ceiling, you could have your trim be a different color than the walls in the ceiling, and it really makes it stand out and pop a lot. I love a painted ceiling. It's gorgeous and absolutely something worth considering. Even if you're just painting your ceiling the same shade of white as your walls, do that. Color drench in white. I love it. Even if you're painting your ceiling like a slightly different or lighter version of it, whatever, if you have a very bright space, if you have a really dark space, I love a painted ceiling detail. It's not one you will regret, and you're never gonna live in a house that doesn't have a painted ceiling detail either. Never. Another design detail you will never regret bringing into your home is more lighting. Lighting is great, layered lighting, it's just soft, it's beautiful. You can completely change the feeling of your home from day to night using additional lighting. Most designers will tell you they have 20, 25, 30 lamps in their home because we love lighting. We love to have as many lamps. Put one in every corner, one in the center of the room, two in that one corner, and then let's get some overhead lighting. Maybe we put some LED lighting into the trim. There's also a big trend right now where people are adding spotlights into their floors by like doors and windows and stuff to like get, you know, this really great projection of light upward. I absolutely love it. I love it. And something I'm doing with a lot of clients right now is we are going in with spotlights on the ceiling. Instead of doing like, you know, that flush mounted recessed can light type thing, we're going in with spotlights so we can really project the lighting onto walls to create this bounce of light that has just an interesting feeling to it. And I love that. I love it so much. Track lighting is even coming back in because people are realizing like, wait a second, having all of this additional lighting is really, really good. It's really great in our home. So that's what I want to see in a home. Lighting is the easiest way to do that. And like I said, you can change the feeling from day to night because you use warm tone lighting. Okay, 2700 for lamps and like a chandelier. And then in a kitchen and a bathroom, you can go a little bit brighter than that. 3000, 3500, 4000. That's the range you want to go. And 4000 is actually a little bit much. I would personally use 4000 in a garage before I used it in my house, but you can go a little bit brighter where you need additional lighting. Something else I love for you is becoming a part of the best design community in the world on the internet, and that is this one right here. So be sure you take a moment and you hit that subscribe button. Join us, become a part of our GarrettLeChic family of design enthusiasts and people who have great style, great taste, or at the very least recognize it. And we can achieve that in our home, so be sure you join us. I also would greatly appreciate if you helped share this video by sharing it with anybody you think could use it and giving it a like. Another design detail I talk about all the time with clients and nobody ever regrets is going oversized with your vent hood. I actually have a client right now where we're doing so much great work in our home and it's modern and it's chic and it's minimal and it's very like Paris style, and we're like, go oversized with the vent hood, like get a big vent hood because we're not doing a ton in the kitchen. She doesn't cook a lot, so we want something really beautiful and statement like, go oversized with the vent hood. And what I mean by that is like, let's say you have a 30-inch oven, get the 36-inch vent hood. If you have the 36-inch cooktop oven, like, okay, let's get like a 40 or a 42-inch vent hood. Like, get it big, get it oversized, especially if you have taller ceilings. Like if you have 9-foot ceilings, getting an oversized vent hood is going to balance out the proportions and scale. We don't want some like skinny, tall thing, like, you know, string bean type of looking thing up to the ceiling. No, it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. We need a big, stately vent hood to really create that bold impact. And you can also have that encased in cabinetry. You can have it kind of blend in and that's fine, but also you get a lot of use out of an oversized vent hood, right? They are sucking up more air than probably is necessary. There's more ventilation happening and it's getting up all of the cooking smells and the steam and the grease and all of the things. And I'm so happy about that. But oversized vent hoods always look amazing. They have great function and utility, but the aesthetics are there for me. And sometimes you compromise. You'll like do something that is just beautiful because it brings you joy, but it maybe is not the single most functional thing. This is the opposite. You do it because it's extremely functional, but it looks good. You'll never go back to having a standard size vent hood once you have an oversized one. You will thank yourself for it because of what it will do to the overall design and aesthetic of your kitchen. An oversized vent hood, oh, brings me so much joy, and you will get that joy too. Another design detail that that nobody ever regrets. Nobody ever regrets, and it's probably like, it's a classic at this point. It's not a trend, and it's something everybody should be thinking about. I always, when we talk about kitchens with clients, this is always a conversation that is had, and that's a slab backsplash. We love a slab backsplash because there are no grout lines. Okay, it's just easy to take care of. It's easy to clean. Why wouldn't we have it? Especially if we're going with some great stone or material in a kitchen. Why would we not do a slab backsplash, right? Like, come on now. Like, it just looks really good. And there's a number of things you can do in this realm or niche that actually are very functional and look good, but provide a lot more function than you currently have. Let's talk about a tile backsplash. Tile backsplashes are great, but they have grout. And I love a tiled backsplash because you can go in and add them after the fact. So if you buy a new home and you don't have the budget to spend a lot of money on the backsplash, you can do that later on. We can take off the little splash back, the little 3-inch piece of stone, take that off and then put beautiful tile up there. And it's great. It looks good and it's wonderful. And if you're gonna do that, do it. Match the color of your countertop so it just has that effect of continuing upwards. And I think that's great. But you have a lot of grout lines. Sometimes you pick a more delicate material or something that is just a little more trendy because you kind of pick what you like at the time. And then 5 years on, you're like, ugh, who picked this? Like, no, we have to redo it. That's a conversation I have with a lot of clients where they pick something out and they're like, I don't know what I was doing or thinking. And then I came here and the people had it installed and I realized I didn't like it then. So now I have to redo it again. You don't want to be that person. So when it comes to clients that are like, hey, I don't want to replace my countertop. So maybe they have something simple. They're like, I have a white quartz countertop and yeah, it's really functional and it looks good and I don't want to spend the money replacing it. I'm like, let's look for an alternative material in a similar color that is a slab because we can get a lot of bang for our buck there. We can also use oversized tile, and then we only have very few thin vertical grout lines that we can put in, and we get that slab backsplash effect. And because the backsplash is vertical, we see more of it than the horizontal surface from a distance, and so we can do something really interesting there. We can do a marble backsplash or like a porcelain look marble backsplash with a quartz countertop. It's fantastic. You will never regret a slab backsplash, and you don't have to use the same material on your countertop and your backsplash either. It's not a design detail you will go back from or regret, even if you're just doing granite. If you're doing, you know, a simple granite or an interesting granite, let's say, and you want that really strong, that durability granite has, putting it on your backsplash, okay, you like the granite, just add more of it. Put it on the backsplash. Actually, granite is harder to match with tile than anything else is. So I would say if you're doing granite, please take it up the backsplash because it's gonna look really good. You will never regret doing a slab backsplash. It costs a little bit more, but it looks well worth it. Another design detail you will never regret is adding in an antique to every space, regardless of the style. Actually, I would say, especially if the style is modern or contemporary, adding in an antique is going to create personality and character. And it doesn't have to be an antique chair or a big antique cabinet or something you inherited from your grandmother. Like, those are all great, and if they work stylistically in the space, absolutely bring them in. But you can do an antique vase or a jar or a little box to store things in. Having that one antique piece there, really it has history, it has a story to it, and it makes it feel like it does. It brings a lot of character, and it's all about how you style it, really, whether or not it feels antique and vintage, old, or if it feels modern and contemporary and chic. I also just love to bring in an antique piece because it makes things that are store-bought or flat pack look more expensive. Like, let's be real. We don't get the same quality today that we used to. Why would we not do that? That juxtaposition of style always feels elevated, and it doesn't have to be something that's extremely ornate. You can get something that's like postmodern or modernism and bring it into the space, and it's like, whoa, that's really cool. That feels interesting. It can be a hand-blown thing. A lot of designers are loving to bring in a antique Murano glass chandelier into a contemporary space right now. I've seen it quite a few times. It looks elevated. It looks chic and interesting. You can bring an antique lamp into a modern space. Those are all things to think about. And if you have a more traditional style, if you bring things in that have a little bit of that detail, that reference point to them, and then mix them with an actual antique, it starts to make everything else feel more authentic and look good, and you don't have to rely as heavily on those detailed pieces because that antique has it. Another design detail you will never regret bringing into your home are handmade elements and items. I love a handmade element because you can customize them, because there's a little bit of a story there, because, you know, it's just an interesting piece to bring in. We're supporting smaller businesses, local businesses, and I really love that. And what do I mean by a handmade element? Because there's a lot you could go into there, right? Like you can get a custom upholstered sofa, and if you actually are having a custom sofa made by a local furniture manufacturer near you, a small batch manufacturer, you can have it made to exacting dimensions that fit your space perfectly. I'm a custom pillow person. That's where I am always gonna be. I'm always gonna have a custom pillow made, handmade by somebody somewhere in some sort of fabric that I like, whether it's an expensive designer fabric or it's something more affordable that's just the perfect color match for a space. I always love to look out for a handmade pillowcase, or cover I should say, and that brings me so much joy. You can also have things monogrammed or embroidered, custom rugs. I love it. If you are a rug person, you're looking for a rug, a high-end rug, a nice rug, go on to an Etsy and look at all of the sellers, find a rug you like and message that person and say, hey, can you custom make this rug for me in this exact size? How much is that gonna cost? My clients absolutely love that, because sometimes your home is just not conducive to a standard size piece of furniture or a rug or whatever. You can have something customized or made specifically for you. Now that we talked about some design details that you won't regret, let's talk about something else you won't regret: decorating like a designer. Be sure you check out that video right over here to learn all about how to decorate your living room like a designer, and I will see you over there. Oh, and by the way, thanks for watching. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and thank you for spending some time with me today, because in this video, we're talking about interior design that influencers don't like, I don't like. I also have all of the answers to make it work in your home, and nobody else is giving you these. They're just gonna tell you it's wrong and not how to fix it. Newsflash, we can do anything and make it stunning together. Now, the first thing we have to talk about, the first interior design mistake or thing you could have in your house that we just don't love, okay, it's not the single most elevated thing, is wall-to-wall carpet. You hear this all of the time. It's like, don't do carpet. Oh, I don't like carpet. Take out the carpet. I don't like carpet. And I would love to see everybody take it out. If it was up to me, wall-to-wall carpet wouldn't be a thing, but it's not. First things first, if you have your carpet, it's there, it's installed, it's not changing, it's not going anywhere, what do you do about it? A lot of people will just say, like, put a rug over top of it and then you don't have to look at it, but it's literally still there. Okay, it's under the rug. Like, you step on the rug, you're gonna feel that there's carpet underneath. I don't like that. Rugs always shift, they wrinkle. It's a major tripping hazard. Dangerous, girl. I would not recommend that. I would just rather see the wall-to-wall carpet without a rug over top of it. And a lot of people like that. It creates warmth or character, and I agree it does, but there are other ways you can do that. Now, the first tip to consider when you have wall-to-wall carpet that you're trying to make work is you need more of the color of that carpet. It needs to be more. It needs to be everywhere. Match your wall color to the carpet. Pull that color and put it in artwork, accessories, throw blankets, soft furnishings like a little pillow. Give me more. I want more of that color. That way it feels intentional. Next, if we are trying to define spaces and segment them, make them feel individual, like in an open concept space, which we will discuss later, you want to make sure that the spaces have intention. They, like, this is the living room, that is the dining room. They are separate and defined. And you can do that through the furniture layout, through the placement of an accent chair, or, you know, the way a sofa is turned, have the back of the sofa to the open area of the space. That way it's clearly defined as this is the living room, that is not. Or, you know, like I said, an accent chair, love that. You can do a lot of that and define the space really beautifully. While adding in extra soft furnishings in the color of the carpet is key. Now, if you want to get rid of the carpet, you can't stand looking at it, the job needs to be done right. If it's coming up, it needs to be done right. If you're replacing it with solid surface flooring, I don't like flooring that changes level. I don't want to see, like, this is the old wood you had and now you're going to do something new and you're like, this is the new thing, and they touch each other. It doesn't look good. Okay, let me just tell you that right now. Everybody else is gonna be like, oh, solid surface flooring is great. It matters, and it has to look good. Just make sure you're doing it right. Like, don't have that strip of tile in the entryway and then, like, oh, there used to be carpet here, so we just put vinyl in place. I don't like that. I don't like that. Just be consistent. It's worth putting the little bit of extra effort in to achieve the look you really want. Okay, we've talked about that. Now, if you're replacing carpet with carpet, I do not like frise carpet, and that is the builder grade carpet that you get, and it's like, you know, a twisted little yarn tuft on the ground. I don't like that at all because it doesn't have durability or longevity. It is the cheapest type of carpet you can put into a space, so that's why builders do it. It's okay if you have it, if it's already in place. Hey, no point in changing it if there's nothing wrong with it, but something will go wrong with it. It will look bad in a couple of years, and then you'll be thinking about replacing it. A cut pile is actually my favorite, but I want to see a carpet that has a very, very low pile, and that means that the carpet is thinner. And you're probably thinking, but that's not as comfortable. No, it's not, but it means that the carpet looks good and fresher longer, and it doesn't show wear quite as much. It doesn't get crushed down. You can upgrade the padding underneath carpet to a beautiful, high quality, like a memory foam pad underneath it. I recommend doing something that is pet proof. It has like a protective coating on top of it that doesn't let it absorb any liquid. It means you can get stuff up out of it when you're cleaning it. So professional carpet cleaners, love them. A great way to support a small business and not have your house be disgusting and gross, because dirty carpet is not the vibe. Like I said, I have clients all of the time who face these real life difficulties, and I always have the answer for them, which is why if you are facing an issue, a difficulty, you are stuck making a design decision, I'm here for you. You can always book a one-on-one consultation with me using the link in the description box down below, or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. And remember, the times available are listed in your time zone. Let's talk about something else that gets a bad rap that people love to hate on, but sometimes you just need in your home, okay? Sometimes you just need it in your life. That's a ceiling fan. I don't love ceiling fans because I just don't love them. You know, like I would rather see a more beautiful light fixture. However, a lot of people that tell you that don't live in climates where a ceiling fan makes any sense. I, being a person who lives in a warm place, I live in southern Nevada. Sometimes a ceiling fan is just a good thing. It's just a good thing. I don't personally think it makes that much sense here because we don't really have a ton of humidity, but I'm from Florida originally. Like, you have to have a ceiling fan, otherwise you are not making it through the summer. Ceiling fans have great functionality, so keep that in mind. If you like a ceiling fan, if you're like, you know what, I don't want a floor fan, I don't want a standing fan or like a table fan, and you want the ceiling fan, it's okay to have one. Let's just take it to the next level. Let's elevate it and upgrade it. And there's plenty of things you can do. Pro tip here, get it in a color that matches your ceiling. It literally vanishes. You barely notice it. It's like completely out of sight, out of mind, disappears, and that's great. I mean, literally, it's amazing. You can have the function. I'm looking at my ceiling now, and I could imagine it being there, but then I wouldn't be able to see it because I would get it in a color that matched, so it wouldn't matter anyway. That makes a lot of sense. And if you're that person that you're just like, oh, I want to create the illusion that nothing is there, get it in a color that matches your ceiling. It will literally just disappear. On the opposite end of that, if you're like, this is the light fixture we have, like it's a ceiling fan, like it needs to give light. I like a ceiling fan that has an outdoor inspiration to it. I just think that feels real. It feels real to me because like that's where you would see a ceiling fan, right? Like on an outdoor porch or something like that, just to get some movement, to keep the bugs away actually. But I like a fan that has an outdoor feeling to it, whether that's styled after an outdoor light fixture, or, you know, I love those like colonial, like British colonial style ones that are like the leaves they look like. I actually really eat that up and I love it. Lean into the style of your home. I'm gonna put together a ceiling fan collection on my Amazon storefront that I recommend you check out. There's gonna be some great ones in there. And the good thing about ceiling fans is that they surprisingly tend to be budget friendly. You can get really expensive ceiling fans, but I find that they look exactly the same as the more affordable ones. Something else that gets a lot of hate when it comes to interior design and YouTube channels, including mine, but that's okay, although I can make it work, like I said, is open concept. Open concept, you know, was really big and very popular because it actually is good for letting light into your space. You get much brighter spaces because all of the windows are allowing light to filter through the entire house. Like, that's a good thing. Also, you can take advantage of a smaller home by having an open concept. The downside of open concept is that it's harder to decorate. There's less wall space. Also, you also don't get the same sense of formality. You know, you have more like open space to cool and heat, which can be harder and use more energy. So there's just certain positives and negatives to it. How do you decorate them? How do you make them work? Number one, there has to be a thread of continuity throughout all of these spaces. You don't have this is the living room, that is the dining room. type of situation. You're not changing the paint colors or wall colors, like the kitchen, the living room, the great room, whatever, it's all open to each other. There has to be some sort of consistency. For me, that's hardware color, that's light fixture style, and then fine details or, furniture styling details. Window treatment hardware, make it the same everywhere. Actually, window treatment fabrics should be consistent too. Like, let's say in your living room, you have a great set of drapes. Take that material and then use it on a Roman blind in the kitchen. Take that same material and use it as Roman blinds in the dining room where there's a different sort of drape. That way we have consistency. There's a flow through that color. Light fixture styles. Like I said, I love an outdoor style fixture, right? A lantern fixture. You can get an oversized one over a dining table, smaller pendant style ones in a kitchen, and then maybe instead of doing a lantern fixture in the living room, you do something that's a little bit bigger, oversized, has the same shape bulb and same hardware color. There you go. It's all about having consistency in a space. When I said furniture details, however, that's important in an open concept space because I want that reference to repeat itself. If you have a tufted Chesterfield sofa, get a dining chair that has a little bit of tufting in it, or a bench or something somewhere with that same material, that same tufting as a solid reference point. Artwork that has a similar tone or style throughout. Give me all, abstract pieces that have an accent of blue in them. For consistency's sake, it makes sense. It has good flow. That is important to remember in an open concept space. You also can do a lot defining spaces with furniture layouts. I'm not going to dive too deep into that right now because I actually made a really amazing video all about the best furniture layouts for your living room. That's a good one to watch. I'm going to link that right up here and it'll be at the end of the video. So be sure you click on that after you're done here. Actually, I'll also link a video all about decorating open concept spaces that you should really watch that also if you have it, because open concept spaces are difficult to decorate, and that's why most people just tell you don't do them or don't have them or get rid of them because they don't have the answers for you. But I do. Okay, let's talk about the next thing we talk about all of the time that I don't love, that I don't recommend you do, but sometimes it's just not realistic. And that is extending cabinetry to your ceiling. Now, obviously I stand by this. I think it looks amazing and I think it benefits everyone's home and space lifestyle because you don't have to clean on top of it. But the best time to do this really is when your home is being built or your kitchen is being renovated, because it's very hard to find cabinetry that matches your existing cabinetry to add onto it. And sometimes, like let's say you have 9-foot ceilings and the cabinetry stops at like 7 feet. Like, what are you gonna do? Build a 2-foot soffit? It's crazy. So that doesn't always make the most sense. But there are creative things you can do with cabinetry in your kitchen, your existing cabinetry, to just make it feel more elevated and really enhance your kitchen. There is one detail you absolutely have to have, okay? I don't love cabinetry that's just like stuck on the wall in a line, all right? It doesn't give me anything. It's not enhancing the space, but it can look acceptable and good and, be a little bit more detailed if you add crown molding onto the top of that. The next thing I really love to see in a kitchen where the cabinetry does not extend to the ceiling is a staggered cabinet height. So some cabinets are just taller than the other ones. It breaks up some of those lines, makes it look a little more intentional and less just kind of like there. If you have vaulted ceilings, you just take the cabinetry as high as you can, you add crown molding onto it, and that's what is gonna work out best for you. Like, you just don't have a ton of options as to filling that space in. And depending on the vault, you can stagger the cabinets also to really enhance the height of the space. And that's the whole point of vaulted ceilings, right? They enhance the height, they allow you to have the highest ceilings possible, so staggering the height of the cabinets just makes sense. I also, I see homes all of the time where I'm like, what needs to be done here is that microwave with the cabinet above it needs to be removed, and you need to have a custom vent hood built that extends to the ceiling. Even if you don't go custom and you go with like a stainless steel vent hood, taking it up to the ceiling really enhances the space. It creates that one defined moment. It makes like a focal point, a statement in your kitchen, and I think that is beautiful. It's a good way to enhance a home that's existing where you're keeping the kitchen, you want to add a little something extra to it. Something I recently saw that really has got me like, whoa, I kind of love that. Like, it was a great idea, was someone who they bought a builder grade home that had white quartz counters, like just a basic white quartz. Then they added a natural stone, a marble backsplash, slab cut backsplash onto the kitchen, and took the extra slab and put it above the cabinetry. So it looked like it extended all the way behind. I don't think that's something you have to do. It's never something I would specify from a builder. Like if someone came to me and they were asking about their kitchen, that wouldn't be the number one detail I recommended to them. But if you already have an existing kitchen where the cabinetry does not extend to the ceiling, that's a great detail. It was actually recommended by some of you that instead of having to dust and wipe down the top of your cabinetry, that you could put newspaper on it. I think that's a great idea. Somebody also commented that the newspaper can get gross and smell, which is disgusting. So they recommended to put wax paper, and I think that's a wonderful idea as well. Something to catch all of the dust, the dirt, the debris, the grime that could get on top of a cabinet that doesn't extend to the ceiling is a good idea, because you just bundle it all up, throw it away, replace it, and you're good to go. Saves you a lot of maintenance, especially if you're not looking to climb up on a ladder and clean the top of your cabinets all of the time. That is a pro tip that is definitely LeChic approved. Now, the next thing we have to talk about that I don't like, the elephant in the room, not this room, of course, because this is stunning, but some rooms, is the accent wall. I don't love an accent wall because I want more. I want more. I want all of it. Give me everything. Give me all of it. More, 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 more. I want more. I don't like an accent wall because I want everything to be that color. I love an accent detail in a space. Like, instead of doing an accent wall, I would do an accent ceiling. I think that's stunning. I would match the ceiling color to the wall color if you're not going to do an accent ceiling. I think it's phenomenal. I love that so much. If you're doing like a ceiling medallion, I guess there could be an exception where you paint that to match the walls. There's a lot of interesting things you can do in a space with an accent. But one accent wall is just not enough for me. If you're going to do that, I need more. I need more of it. So you do your accent wall that color, okay. Give me accent drapes that match it. Paint the inside of a closet in a bedroom that color to give me a little selfish detail, a little pop, something to reference back to that. I think is amazing. I want more. That's what it takes to make an accent work. I'm always saying, when you're decorating with color, give me 3 colors in 3 different ways. And that can be one of them. If you're like, that's an accent wall, okay, what are the other 2 spaces you're bringing that color into for me? I need to see more of it. That's how you work with an accent. You know, and usually it's based on like the amount of that color in a space. So, you know, if you're having an accent wall, you're gonna have a lot of it in one area. I need to balance that saturated color out somewhere else. And it doesn't have to be a super vibrant color and overwhelming color. It doesn't have to be neon or like a highlighter color. It could be a soft muted color, and that's beautiful. I just need it to be consistent, and I need more of it. Well, there you have it, everyone. That's the video, and I want to take a moment before I leave you to thank all of you that have been tuning into the first hour of Video is Live. It truly makes the world of difference to me, and it has helped our channel out so much. Thank you for your continued support, and you all know I love and appreciate all of our LeChic family members. Now, if you are not one of us, be sure you hit that subscribe button, and I told you to check out these 2 videos right here. This one, all about living room layouts. You definitely need to watch that. And this one right over here, all about how to decorate open concept. Be sure you check them out, and I will see you over there. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and as you probably know, I am an interior designer, but I'm also a real person. And sometimes you just can't renovate your house with every new trend, every update, every new thing. And today we're talking about how to take your home that may be feeling a little dated and make it look beautiful without having to buy into every one of the new and latest trends. And yes, we do have our monitor here, Arden, on the sofa behind me. Don't mind him, or do if you want to, because he's gonna mind you. He's inspecting and checking everything out. The first thing we have to talk about is actually something that we all notice when we enter a space, when we see, and it just makes it look messy. And that's a big thing I want you to remember here always, is that like, yeah, maybe something is a little bit older, okay? Like maybe it's somebody's personal style, and that's fine. Not every style is for everyone. My house isn't for you, your house isn't for me, although you could come over. We have a little coffee sometime, maybe, we'll see. But what really makes a home look beautiful is when it doesn't look messy. When it doesn't look messy. And one of the biggest messy things I see in a home that you never see in a magazine are cords and cables and wires that are exposed and just hanging out on the ground. It just always looks messy, and we always see it. The wires and everything are not elevated. They're not beautiful and gorgeous. But the reality of life is that we live in homes with electricity, and we like to plug things into it to, you know, have things. Like, I love lamps, as many lamps as possible, but you're always gonna see the cords and cables for a lamp, a plug for it, right? So you have to be thinking about how can we overcome this? What's the best we can do with this? And there's a million hacks out there for it. If you have a television, I always say have it mounted on the wall, have a contractor out to put the cables behind the wall, and it's like super clean, super sleek. If you're renting, you could always get a cable management system linked in my Amazon storefront. And you can find that link in the description box down below, that, you can cover it with, paint it to match the wall, put a piece of decor in front of it, none's the wiser, nobody knows it's there. But when it comes to all of the lamps and everything in your house, you might not always be able to do that. So what I will do is I pretend it's not there adjacent. I just don't want to have wires on the ground, right? Because if I'm vacuuming and cleaning, I'm just not gonna do it. And I know the people in your family, if the kids are doing the chores in the house, they're probably not putting the most effort into it because it's a chore, they don't wanna do it. So they're not gonna move the cable to vacuum underneath it to get the dust bunnies there. They're just gonna vacuum around it and move on. I don't like that. So I will take and wrap my cords up and then just tape them onto the back of the furniture piece that the lamp is sitting on. Boom, 10 out of 10, it's perfect. Yeah, the plug is still there. It's still there because this is a real house. It's not a staged magazine. While we're on the topic of some of these basic things that will make a home look way better, a part of hiding those wires is decluttering, right? Like we want it to be clean and sleek. Declutter, 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 declutter. Like you all know, I love looking at houses that are for sale. Everybody does. Everybody loves to look at houses that are for sale, but I always see them where it's like, they just have stuff packed everywhere, like every inch of floor space, like the linear space around the edges of a wall where the baseboards are, they will just have all of these little bits of pieces of furniture. It's like a little shelf and a chair and a lamp and this and all of this stuff. And like, I don't approve of any of that other than the lamp because I love great lighting and maybe a good accent chair or two. Or a nice storage piece of furniture is also really great, but with limitations. When we can see your baseboards or like the corners of a space, it feels huge. It feels so much bigger to see this instead of it just being like a bunch of stuff lined up against a wall. Like it's giving thrift store. Honestly, that's kind of I love a good thrift store too, but like for vintage decor is great. I don't want to live there though. I want my house to be beautiful and elegant and timeless. And you can make your house look a lot bigger by decluttering some of those items that are, kind of hanging out around the space. If you buy a lot of smaller pieces to use, like furniture pieces, they tend to build up and there's bulkiness there. And it just feels messy. We need a little bit of negative space there. So sometimes it makes sense, even in a smaller room, to get a bigger piece of furniture because we don't need a ton of little pieces of furniture. Like a big storage piece of furniture is great in a small space because it gives us a lot of storage and we don't have to look at all of the clutter and the mess. Decluttering, an easy way to take a space that looks really busy and kind of tired and really revamp it and make it look beautiful. We all know somebody whose house maybe is a little cluttered, maybe feels a little claustrophobic, and that we're kind of tired of very quickly, we're overwhelmed by and we're ready to leave. You don't want to be that person, and neither do I. And decluttering is a conversation I often have to have with my clients. As many of you know, I am an interior designer and I offer my services on a consultation basis. If you need any help making some decisions or getting some truth and an honest answer as to what's going on or what needs to change in your home, think about booking a consultation with me. You can use the link in the description box down below or go to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to book that with me, and I'll see you there. Something that I think always makes a home look beautiful, elegant, timeless, no matter the style of it, is a little bit of vintage. And I'm usually looking to add vintage in a style that's maybe a little bit different than everything else that's happening. And that's a really good way to take a dated home and make it feel more timeless by taking some of those dated elements. Like a lot of times you'll have a big oversized sofa that just feels like early 2000s or late 90s. But a lot of times we can pair that with a vintage piece, like a vintage chair or a console table, that will all of a sudden shift it into being something that feels more like, oh, it's aligned with an antique style or something. Or what I like to do in my house is I like to mix very traditional and very modern pieces of furniture together. It just feels like cultivated and layered and chic and interesting to me. So I will get a vintage piece that is mid-century, and I will get a vintage piece or an antique piece to pair that with. And sometimes I'll buy a vintage piece of upholstery and pair it with a brand new modern reproduction of an antique or something like that, to kind of create this juxtaposition that when something feels out or dated, something else feels current, fresh, and new, so we always have a sense of timelessness within our home. And that's what I want for all of my clients. I want, obviously, to stick to their personal style. Like, obviously, you know, if I'm your interior designer and I'm going there and I'm telling you what I think you need to do, I'm not gonna say like, okay, get rid of everything, we're starting from scratch, and then here's the style you're going to have because this is what's new. I'm gonna take a look around and say, okay, what are the pieces that are working for you and what are we ready to let go of? That's a really important piece. We'll build off of that and develop a style that's personal to you that relates to that one piece. And that's how you should be looking at accessorizing, adding vintage or antiques, anything into your home, be it something brand new or something vintage. You want to look at your style and then say, how do we layer on this? How do we make it more timeless? How do I make that look more current or more antique or more vintage, like it's been here for a long time, or maybe like I just brought it in? If you come into my house, you know that I like something that's a little bit polished, a little bit glamorous, a little sophisticated, but I also like an interesting reference, and I'm not afraid to have something that I think is a little bit funny or a little quirky, and you know, maybe something is off. Like, a lot of people will say the mirror above my fireplace is too small. I disagree. But I like that piece because it's an empire style piece and it just layers nicely with the other pieces of furniture in my house. It brings a reference point there that I really enjoy. I like the brass sconces I have. It all just works for me personally and brings me a lot of joy. That's what you have to have in your house. If you are engaging in content and somebody is telling you what you're doing is wrong or that your style isn't correct or that what they're doing is right and you have to do that in your home, if it's a designer or a design commentator, run. You don't have to do that in your home. You genuinely have to be happy in your own space. And maybe that requires you to get rid of everything and start from scratch if that's the position you're in. My clients, 90% of the time, they have pieces that are very sentimental to them. So we're looking at how do we take that and then elevate their style in some interesting way that works personally for them. That's what you have to do in your home. Speaking of what you need to do in your home, something else I think that really always brings a home that feels a little bit dated into feeling a little bit modern or more relevant, more up to date is great lighting. And the way you're gonna do that is through layered lighting. And the way you do that, you get layered lighting in your home, is by bringing in more alternative lighting like lamps. I love a great lamp. And a lamp is also a really good place to bring vintage into your home. It's a really good place because there's just some cool stuff out there. Lamps are so interesting. You can get a new shade. You can completely change the character of a lamp with a new shade on it. I just love vintage lighting. It's always so great. Lighting is a great place to make a reference and it sets the style of your space. So if you're renting, for example, and this space might not have great style, okay? It might just be like a generic building. Talk to your landlord, but changing out the lighting is an easy and simple task you can have an electrician do, like the overhead lights, sconces potentially if you have them, to really define your style within that space. And then you just have it changed back when you move out to the original fixtures and everybody's happy. And if you're living in your home and you're like, I wanna redefine the style, I wanna do this, I want it to all be modern and current and all of this and contemporary, let's bring in some mid-century style light fixtures. That way we have a little bit of a vintage reference point. And that's really great, be it a lamp, be it that overhead fixture. Look for a cantilevered lamp, that's really great. And if you're looking to create a space that has a little bit of a homey, cozy vibe to it, I like that. I like a little bit of a transitional space for a lot of my clients. That's the style they gravitate towards. I might say like, let's find a sofa that has really clean and sleek lines, but then let's find a floor lamp with a swing arm that has a little bit more of a traditional feel to it to make that reference point. I think vintage is great. It's a good place to bring it in. More lighting is always better. It always makes your home feel more elevated, chic, sophisticated, timeless. Layered lighting is great. Warm bulbs, I do 2700 for the temperature in alternative lighting sources, lamps, maybe even an overhead fixture, but if I'm doing recessed lighting, I'll go a little bit brighter and like just the overall space might do 3000, 3500 in a kitchen, maybe 4000 in a bathroom, but that's like the maximum. Actually, I probably stick with 3500, but keep all of those tips in mind when it comes to lighting in your home because it will transform your house and also the color schemes you have going on. It softens it, makes it a little warmer and a little bit easier to enjoy when you have all of the lights on. And hey, listen, if you're enjoying watching the video and hanging out with me and you wanna do it a few times a week, I would love to have you join our GarrettLeChic family by hitting that subscribe button and becoming a part of it. I greatly appreciate if you gave this video a like. And listen, if you know somebody that is looking to do some updates to their house, but they don't know where to start or they're finding it overwhelming, this would be a great video to share with them. Oh, and here comes Arden to say hello. And he says, share this video with a friend because friends help friends. Don't they, Arden? Don't they? Oh, yeah. And little puppies, what do they want? They want to beg for treats. They want to beg for a little bone. You want a bone? A bone? Okay, why don't you go and run around and look for your brother? Or not. Okay. Well, he's scampering around and doing his little things. Let's talk about another way you can easily update a dated home. And I see this all of the time, especially with my clients that like, they have something that's a specific color or they're doing something a little adventurous. It's all about a color scheme. And most of the time I find that people will be drawn to something or like one piece, they'll gravitate towards something in a color and then they're like, this is great, let's bring it in. But then it doesn't have a relationship to anything else in that space. And then it starts to get to the point where it's like, I've done this a few times, I have a lot of different colors and things don't all really connect well at all. Like, so you start feeling like it's dated and you want to restart and, you know, start from scratch and just be like, you're overwhelmed because nothing feels like it's coordinating. You got to coordinate those colors. I love blue. It's my favorite color. In reality, the only reason this room is not painted blue right now is because that room over there is painted blue. And then upstairs, I have a blue room. Like, fully, I'm like addicted to this color. So I got a blue sofa. It's a commitment. It's a big piece in my home. It was an expensive piece too. So I committed to something that I knew I was gonna love for a very long time because it was a big commitment. And that's fine. This sofa is at this point like 2-3 years old. I still come down these stairs every single day and I fall in love with it all over again because I chose something that was really personal to me and works with my personal style. I had a lot of other blue stuff in here. I got blue pillows on the sofa, I got blue chairs over there, I got blue chairs in the other room, the whole other room is blue. You can commit to a color that you really like, but then we have to start making references. The whole point is you can use throw pillows to create an accent, to brighten and refresh a space, and to make flow happen. You can create a cohesive color scheme by adding in a little bit more of some of the colors you might be missing or use them to drown out a color you maybe don't want to see that much. Something else you can do in your space is add in some great features. Now, what do I mean by that? Because features could mean a lot of different things. You can obviously add in a statement moment or a great focal point like a fireplace. But, well, that's hard to add in. Let's be real. I mean, adding in a fireplace is not a small endeavor. If you already have one, you could update it. Sure, you could add in an electric fireplace. Once again, it's expensive though, and that might just not be for everybody. Even just adding in a mantle, like a faux mantle and kind of, you know, painting the inside of it black creates the illusion or the fantasy of that focal point, and I love that. Now, what I really meant by a feature is some sort of great detail. I love a great detail in a space. And you know, this house, when we bought it, well, let's just say it needed many of them, and we added them in because it was a colonial style on the exterior, but inside it was like original mid-century with the teal carpets and everything. A mess, a total mess. Ugh, can you imagine me in it? It was, well, you probably, if you've been here for a while, you saw me in it, but that's beside the point. I went in and did a lot of changes to this house. We had a lot of help. My husband helped me do a lot of the things, but we paneled all of the ceilings to create some of that vibe and detail. We added new moldings. I didn't add the moldings and the flooring. People put the moldings in. We changed out all the flooring, a lot of things to bring that colonial style into the house a little bit. And then we juxtapose that with more modern pieces of furniture. But those features make the house make sense. It just makes it flow nicely and looks good from outside and inside. A feature I love to recommend to people is applied moldings. They're just the moldings that are on the wall, and there's many different ways you can do this, different styles of it. So I suggest you just do a little bit of research on your style and what other people have done. But applied moldings are great because they add a nice detail. I actually saw a space that had applied moldings and then had mirrored subway tile in it also. That was super interesting, and a mirror is always a good way to add more light into a space to bounce that around a little bit. Something else you can do in the realm of like a feature or a detail or adding something is just a big oversized piece of art or a mirror, these are great things to add. Great things to add, because adding a really big element on a wall, like an oversized piece of art, like a big mirror, does a lot of things. A big mirror bounces a lot of light around, like we said, so it kind of creates the illusion that a space is bigger and brighter than it maybe is. But a large piece of artwork, and I don't mean like, oh, it's big. I mean huge. I mean a giant piece of artwork feels modern. It just always feels modern no matter what it is. And depending on the styling of the space, you could bring that in to really revamp and modernize your home and make it feel really current, really elevated and relevant and up to date. And you know, artwork, oversized, large artwork can be many different things. It could be, you know, you do wallpaper panels. I love that. With, you know, you don't have to commit to actually doing a full room in wallpaper. You could do a tapestry. Oversized pieces of art or decor are really good. Sometimes it's even just a large or a really tall cabinet that can be really great to create a sense of scale and presence in a space. And then maybe you do it in an interesting color or wood tone that really juxtaposes what's happening to create that more modern effect. I love a big, giant, oversized piece to create a focal or a statement moment in a space. Large artwork, 10 out of 10. Well, there you have it, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. If you like this video, be sure you check out this one right over here, all about some design mistakes that might be aging your home that we can let go of. And I will see you over there.